So now you have a Pakistani and a Bangladeshi who owns phone shops. You know, those shops where they sell cell phones, repair cell phones. You know, that's the job that they usually do or the type of business that they do here in South Africa. Mhm. So now it turns out that there was a customer who happens to be a South African that went to both the stalls. I think maybe he was comparing prices of who, what do you call this, cheaper than the other one. And you know, for example, if I have a broken screen and then I go to one stall, maybe the stall is of a Pakistani, and the Pakistani says to me, "Oh, it's gonna cost you 1,000 rand." And then I'm like, nah, I don't have that 1,000 rand. Then I go to the next store, which is probably a Bangladeshi. And the Bangladeshi will be like, it's also 1,000 rand, but I'm willing to bring it down to 850. Now, the Pakistani comes back to this South African and say, no, 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 I will lower it down for you for 700 rand. Now, the Bangladeshi one is like, what are you doing on my customer? I am negotiating with my customer here, and now you have decreased what I am trying to negotiate. Now, negotiation culture is not a South African culture. It's not in our culture. We don't walk into ShopRite, for example, and negotiate the price. We don't walk into a supermarket and negotiate the price. Even in the flea market, we don't negotiate no price. But it is a culture that comes from outside of South Africa in most cases. But we are not there. So now the Bangladeshi has an issue now with the Pakistani, and now they are fighting over territory. Who is the one that the customer came to first, and you not supposed to be here? I came here first. Yeah, da, 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 da. And then there was a fight that ensued between the two nationals. Now, guys, let's talk about national security. The reason, let me not be that way. Let me put it this way. I don't know what you know about Pakistan. And I don't know what you know about some of the reasons why some Pakistanis are scattered all over the world, right? If you can go back a little bit to 2001, remember 9/11 happened, what's his name? Bush then invaded Iraq, not only Iraq, but Afghanistan, and Osama bin Laden running away and hiding in Pakistan, and a whole unrest began even there. And we also know that, I forgot, is Al Qaeda. You must not, don't forget this. I'm not saying all of them, some Pakistanis used to be members of the Al Qaeda. Some of them ran away because they are being sought after by FBI and CIA and all these places, and they are being harbored here in South Africa with all that skill. Sooner or later, because you know how they group themselves. They group themselves. Bangladeshis, they group themselves. They don't integrate with anyone else but themselves. Same thing with Pakistanis. But they do have a network, I do believe, that they know each other everywhere they are in South Africa. And if there should be, let's say, this tiny little fight escalates, because it has a potential of escalating countrywide. And I was saying, sooner or later, we are going to have a storm. It's not going to be a storm in a teacup. We are going to have a storm that us South Africans are going to be catching stray bullets. I am telling you, we are going to be catching stray bullets. Now, look at the relationship between Pakistan, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bangladesh, and India. They don't get along already up there in Asia. They hate each other. That is why Pakistan, which used to be part of India once upon a time, because of Islamic beliefs and all that other stuff, they decided, we are going to separate ourselves into our own country. Same goes with Bangladesh. Yep. And now they are going to take those wars that they used to fight back in the day before these territories in Asia, is it Southeast Asia? They will bring it here. So sooner or later, there'll be Pakistanis who are going to watch this video and say, I'm a Bangladeshi dry lagab. Bangladeshis will also watch the same video and say, I'm a Pakistani's dry lagab. Next thing, they are bombing each other. Who do you think is going to be the collateral damage? Yeah, us. It's going to be us. And look at our South African police. Look at our South African police, how they were defeated. Two people are mooring each other, but the South African police have absolute no idea how to separate them. This is the picture of, you see this small picture that you are watching. Imagine it being a bigger than this. That means the South African police will not be able to help South Africans, protect South Africans from this war that does not belong to us in our own country. In our own country, they are already fighting for territory. And we know territorial wars, how they all begin. Same goes with drug cartels that are happening in Cape Town. Do you see Cape Town, the gangs? Yeah, that is what you call territorialism. All about territory. You're not allowed to come to my territory. This is my territory. And I was always saying that now that we are having Mexicans coming to South Africa, doing what they do in Mexico, and we're also going to have, I believe, at some point, if we are not going to fix things in South Africa, we are going to have drug pushers coming from the US. You know, they don't play games, those ones. Drive-bys for territory. And in most cases, who catches the stray bullet? It is a civilian, not the member of those gangs. The Mexican cartel, same story. All these Nigerians that think that South Africa is their territory, come the Mexicans, they will be wiped clean by the Mexicans. And the Mexicans then take over our streets. It all starts small, 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 and it grows gradually, gradually. You cannot have that type of guts to do something like that in someone else's land. So clearly, there's a bubbling under animosity going on between the Bangladeshis and the Pakistanis in our country because they do the same business, phones. I mean, we do see it sometimes in the malls. They drag you and they want to sell you this and they want to do this. And then the other one's like, oh, no, 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 come to me. And then this other one will be like, why are you doing that? This is just a small snippet of what's to come if we are not going to curb this immediately. Snip it in the bud. Don't even allow it to ever happen again. And if it does happen, they must know what's going to happen to them. What the police should have done was supposed to arrest both of them, throw them in a van for public disturbance and also for fighting. Get them in court and let them deported, both of them. Shut those stores down. But you saw South African police, they were defeated. Defeated. But now, since the South African police were defeated, what do you think is going to happen going forward? That means you, South African, you open a store similar to theirs. This is your country, by the way, and you open a similar store. There's already animosity between the Bangladeshi and the Pakistani, and the two of them ganging up against you as South African. How are you going then to have a conducive business environment as a South African citizen? And as a South African citizen, how are you then supposed to walk that area in good faith that you are safe? Because you will never know when the fight might break out. And this time around, what weapons are going to be used? I know I'm nobody. I'm just a guy on YouTube, but Slowly but surely, the things that I keep saying, they are now unraveling themselves. Sometimes I feel like, oh my goodness, am I a Sangoma? What's happening? Not because I'm a Sangoma. I'm also doing educated calculations here. I'm looking and I'm like, no, the math is not mathing. Now we are having the same Pakistanis and the same Bangladeshis sending a message to South African police say, you are not allowed to come here. You will see what is going to happen to you. We saw the other days Mozambicans, Malawians, and Zimbabweans telling South African police they are sick and tired of them. Them now they are not going to be nice to them no more. Imagine threatening the police in a country that's not yours. Do you see why we need to clean up? And we need to be aggressive with the cleanup, guys. This thing that happened at in Santon, the Department of Labor, first forewarning the restaurants that there is going to be a raid. I know that did not sit well with me. That did not sit well with me. It's like, guys, just prepare yourself. Don't let your foreign national waiters to come because on this day we are going to be raiding and also clean up the things that needs to be cleaned up. You fix your gas lines and fix your roofs and clean the stoves and make it look nice so that when we come there to inspect, we don't find you guys finding. I mean, wanting. Sorry, not finding. Find you guys wanting. Because if we find you wanting, then you'll leave us with no choice but to cite you. And if your employees they are foreign nationals and undocumented and they do come to work, you will force our hands to arrest them and arrest you, the manager. No, what kind of rubbish is that? You come there unannounced and do what needs to be done. I, I've said this before. I think there is a corrupt relationship between the Department of Labor and the restaurant owner, or maybe the hospitality industry as a whole, because all of these things are happening under their watch. Suddenly, because a young lady by Molly or Michali, she exposed Babel. And now there's this ripple effect, but it's not forming into waves because they forewarn these restaurants. Of course, there's they forewarn them. Why is it? I suspect is because these are the people that they are in their pockets to begin with. That is why you have non-compliance. How did Babel open without being inspected first? Who was the Department of Labor inspector that said, yeah, you are good to go. You are good to open this restaurant. And now they are finding faults. And they are saying that this restaurant it's not long since it opened. We don't know what long since it opened means. To me, it means it was open this year. You can't tell me in 9 months, let's say it was open in January. You can't tell me in 9 months all the stuff that we found wanting in that restaurant, they were fine in January when they opened. They are in the pockets of the hospitality industry. I am telling you, one day it's going to be revealed. Because the way they are behaving, it's no. You walk in, and this thing that, oh, we found four undocumented foreign nationals, this is PR. We go to these restaurants and we are served by these people. They are non South Africans. But no, we only found four undocumented. Why? Because they're saving themselves as the Department of Labor. Like, let's make the number very small because we are going to be questioned by South Africans. I don't believe it because I'm telling you, I've been to Tang, I've been to La Parada in Santon. The entire staff is not South African, but you will hear that only four that are undocumented, the unlucky ones. This is bull. The managers themselves, why don't they tell us where these managers come from? Because they're not South African either. You will see a manager or a supervisor on the floor that will come to your table to ask you, is everything okay? Do you need anything? You do have a waiter, but a manager will also do a courteous round. And you can hear that this is not a South African. So there's still a lot to be done because I still believe that the Department of Labor needs to be questioned, and the media not they are not asking the right questions. How come Ocean Basket was able to operate for this long with faulty equipment and unsafety environments and also having undocumented people? Same goes with all the other restaurants. We see them when we go by KFC, Nando's. We see them. But you'll be told, oh, one at this KFC that was undocumented, everyone else is South African. But then did you check the IDs that indeed they are not stolen ID identities? Come on. I think the Department of Labor is playing South Africans here. If there's any department I feel we are being played, it is the Department of Labor. I'm sorry. And also, the police, in as much as we are seeing what they're doing, we haven't seen convoys of trucks and buses taking these people out of South Africa. When are we going to see that? When are we going to see that? Because, okay, I get it. First, they have to go to court. A court needs to make a declaration, and then, but then we haven't seen anything. And all these arrests of undocumented foreigners started how many weeks ago? So how come we are not seeing convoys and convoys and convoys of buses and trucks and whatever carrying them back to their countries? How come we don't see Peace Airline filled with Nigerians taken back to Nigeria? Come on. No, 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 no. We need to see tangibility going forward. And I think as South Africans, that is what we need to demand. It's all good and well what we are seeing on camera when the media is there. But what happens thereafter? We want to see what we want to follow this all the way through. It's not enough. Now, these Pakistani and the Bangladeshis, get them home. There's nothing happening in Pakistan. There's nothing happening in Bangladesh. Why are they here? So much so they are so comfortable to even send a threatening message to South African police. Why don't we see aeroplanes taking them back home? What is happening here? We cannot be having territorial wars on our land because these territorial wars they graduate into terrorism. I am telling you, I'm telling you. So let's not be playing games here. This is dangerous for South Africans. Anyways, guys, please have a great day. This is food for thought that we need to make calls, serious calls. We want to see evidence now of people being taken home. Ciao.